Right now, in the hours after the worst moment you've had in recent memory, something is happening that you cannot see. Something ancient, something fierce, something assigned specifically to you before you ever drew your first breath. And most people will go their entire lives never knowing what it is. This isn't folklore. This isn't a feel-good church story designed to make you smile and go home comfortable. What I'm about to walk you through is one of the most tactically precise, operationally detailed realities described anywhere in the entire biblical record. And the reason it stays hidden, the reason it stays buried under Sunday morning smiles and casual Christianity, is because the moment you truly understand it, you will never look at a hard day, a sudden panic attack, an unexpected loss, a relationship that fell apart without reason, the same way again. So I need you to stay with me. Every word of this matters. Let me start with something real. Think about the last time you felt attacked. Not necessarily physically. I mean that moment when everything seemed to collapse at once. The financial pressure arrived the same week the relationship fractured. The health scare landed on the same day the opportunity disappeared. The depression hit the same season the community you trusted turned its back on you. You looked around and thought, why is all of this happening at the same time? You felt targeted. You felt like something was working against you. You weren't wrong. You just didn't have the full picture. Because here's what nobody told you. The attack you felt was real. The targeting was real. But what happened in the invisible dimension directly above your life the moment that attack was launched is the part of the story that changes everything. And it happens in a very specific sequence, a very specific window of time. The next 24 hours after a spiritual attack are among the most critical, most active, most supernaturally charged hours of your entire existence. And your guardian angel knows exactly what to do in every single one of them. Read that again, slowly. Your guardian angel knows exactly what to do, not a generic angel. Not some distant cosmic force indifferent to your particular suffering. Your angel, the one assigned to you, the one who has been in the room for every single chapter of your life, seen every wound, witnessed every prayer, stood guard at every threshold, and who right now, in this very moment as you watch this, is positioned in a way you cannot perceive, but that is more real than the chair you're sitting in. Let me take you somewhere first. Let me take you to a city called Dothan, around 850 years before the birth of Christ. The prophet Elisha is sleeping inside a house. The king of Aram, furious that this one man keeps supernaturally exposing his battle plans to the king of Israel, has sent an entire army to surround the city at night. We're talking about horses, chariots, a vast military force encircling the city in the darkness with one objective. Take this man, silence this man, end this man. Elisha's servant wakes up at dawn. He steps outside, and what he sees makes his body go cold. The army is there, the chariots are there, the horses are there. He runs back inside and he says to Elisha, in a voice that carries pure terror, "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" Think about what he's feeling in that moment. He is completely surrounded. There is no human solution. There is no escape route. There is no ally on the way. Every visible, measurable, rational indicator says this is over. And Elisha, without moving from his position, says something so calm it should seem insane given the circumstances. He says, "Don't be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And then he prays, not a long, elaborate prayer, not a desperate cry, bargaining with God. He prays one sentence, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." And the servant's eyes are opened. And what he sees stops his heart in an entirely different way. The hills surrounding the city, the hills that had only shown him the enemy army a moment before. Those hills are now filled, completely covered, with horses and chariots of fire, a heavenly host, a supernatural army of immeasurable power that had been there the entire night, had been there before the enemy arrived, was already in position before the threat even formed. Let that land for a moment. The army was already there. The protection was already deployed. The guardian force was already in position before the servant could even see the danger. The unseen reality was not reacting to the threat. It was already ahead of it. This is the mechanics of how your angel operates. And it is the foundation of everything I'm about to show you about the 24 hours after an attack. Now I need to walk you through something that most teachers skip. They quote that passage. They say, "Isn't that wonderful?" And they move on. But I want to dig into the actual operational theology here because this changes the way you understand every spiritual assault you've ever endured. The attack on Elisha didn't begin with the army surrounding the city. The attack began in the unseen realm. It began in the strategy sessions of darkness before a single chariot wheel turned toward Dothan. And what that means is that by the time the attack became visible in the physical world, the response in the spiritual world was already complete. The angels weren't scrambling. They were standing. They had been standing. They had been deployed, positioned, and assigned before Elisha's servant ever opened the door. This is what happens in the hours after you experience a spiritual attack. Your angel doesn't start moving after the assault hits. Your angel has been moving all along. What changes in the aftermath is the nature of So let's walk through this carefully. Let's walk through what actually happens in your unseen environment in the hours after darkness has targeted your life. In the immediate aftermath, within the first hour, your angel does something that will feel counterintuitive to you if you're in pain. It draws closer, not further, not dispatched to some distant front line while you're left alone to recover. Closer. The biblical record consistently shows that angelic presence intensifies at the moment of greatest human vulnerability. When Elijah, broken and suicidal, lay down under a juniper tree and said, "I have had enough, Lord, take my life," what happened? An angel touched him, not a vision, not a voice from the sky, a touch, physical enough to register on his exhausted body. And when Elijah didn't move, the angel came back a second time. He came back and touched him again and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you." Think about what that means for your life right now. In the moments after the attack, when you're most depleted, when the spiritual assault has drained you to your absolute lowest register, the angel assigned to you moves into its closest operational proximity to your physical person. It is not repelled by your weariness. It is not retreating from your doubt. It is not put off by the fact that you're lying on the floor of your life having lost the fight, at least for this moment. It comes closer. And in that closeness, in that immediate post-attack period, it does something specific. It begins what I can only describe as a containment protocol. The attack that landed has done damage. Not necessarily physical damage, though sometimes it manifests that way, but spiritual damage, emotional damage, damage to your perception of what is true about God, about yourself, about your future. The enemy's goal in any spiritual attack is never just the immediate wound. The goal is always the infection that follows, the lie that seeps into the wound, the hopelessness that colonizes the space where faith used to live, the bitterness that hardens around the injury until it becomes an identity. That process, that infection, that is the real target, and your angel knows it. So in the first hours after an attack, your angel is actively working to limit the spread. Think of it like a spiritual containment field around the wound. The enemy wants that pain to become a doorway, wants that betrayal to become a permanent residence, wants that loss to reclassify your entire understanding of who God is and whether He can be trusted. And your angel, in alignment with heaven's purpose for your life, is fighting against that expansion, is holding the perimeter around your soul while you are too wounded to hold it yourself. This is why, and I want you to think about your own life as I say this, this is why there are moments in the aftermath of great pain where you feel an inexplicable steadiness that has no rational origin. The situation hasn't changed, the circumstances haven't resolved, the wound is still fresh, but somewhere, somehow, in a way you cannot explain, you haven't collapsed all the way. You are still breathing, you are still here. Something kept the absolute worst outcome from happening, and you don't know why. That wasn't luck. That wasn't your own resilience, though God honors that. Something was holding the line. Now, as we move into the next several hours, something else happens. Something that parallels one of the most dramatic passages in the entire Bible, the one recorded in the book of Daniel chapter 10. And this one is going to require you to sit with the full weight of what is being described. Because if you've ever prayed and felt like heaven wasn't listening, if you've ever cried out to God in the middle of an attack and heard nothing, felt nothing, received no visible response, then this passage is written specifically for you. Daniel has been fasting and praying for 3 full weeks, 21 days. He's mourning. He's in the aftermath of a spiritual and emotional assault, a period of grief and confusion about his people's fate so profound that he has stripped away every comfort and positioned himself in raw, extended prayer before God. And for 21 days, he hears nothing. No answer, no vision, no peace. Just silence pressing down on a man pouring himself out. And then an angel arrives. And this angel says to Daniel something that should shatter every theology that tells you silence from heaven means indifference from heaven. The angel says, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard." Read that again slowly. From the first day, from the very first prayer, from the very first cry for help. The words were heard, but then the angel explains what happened in between. He says, "The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. He was delayed." An angelic messenger carrying the answer, carrying the response from God, was engaged in a battle in the heavenly realm that held him back for 3 weeks. And it wasn't until the archangel Michael came to assist that the breakthrough could happen, that the messenger could get through, that Daniel could finally receive what God had already dispatched from the moment the first prayer left his lips. Think about what that actually means. The answer was sent before you finished asking the question. The reinforcement was dispatched before the battle got worse. The help was already in motion before you even knew you needed it. But there is a space between the dispatch and the delivery where warfare happens, where the enemy fights not just you, but the very pipeline of blessing and response moving toward you. And that warfare is happening right now in the unseen hours after your attack. Not because God is slow, not because God is unsure, but because there is a real adversary operating in a real dimension who will contest every move heaven makes toward you. And in those hours, the delay is not abandonment. The silence is not rejection. Your name is still on the dispatch. The answer is still in motion. There's a battle between what was sent and where you are standing. I need you to hold that, because the number one casualty of spiritual attacks isn't faith. It's the patience that faith requires. It's the willingness to stay standing in the gap between the dispatch and the delivery. And your angel, in the 24 hours after the assault, is fighting in that gap, is actively clearing the corridor between heaven's response and your situation. Let me keep building this picture for you, because there are more mechanics here that the church rarely talks about. There's a dimension to angelic ministry in the aftermath of attack that has to do with something almost judicial, something administrative, something that feels cold when I describe it, but is actually one of the most fiercely loving things that happens on your behalf. Your angel records. Hebrews tells us that angels are ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. But throughout the biblical record, particularly in the books of Daniel and Revelation, we see angels in a recording function. We see the book of life, we see records being kept, we see a meticulous, divine accounting of human experience. And here's what that means for you in the aftermath of an attack. Every injustice done to you is being recorded. Every lie spoken over you is noted. Every false accusation, every betrayal, every wound inflicted by darkness against your life has been witnessed by a being who will never forget it and who operates within a system of divine justice that does not lose paperwork. The enemy can attack you, but it cannot attack you without consequence. And the witness standing in your room, in your life, beside your bed when you're too tired to pray, that witness is not neutral. That witness is assigned to you. That witness exists in service to the God who says, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." And the record being kept in the 24 hours after your attack is the foundation of the repayment that is coming. Before I go further, I have to stop and ask something of you, not for my channel numbers, not for some metric on a dashboard somewhere. I'm asking you to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel right now, because there is someone watching this video in the middle of the worst 24 hours of their life. Someone whose angel is fighting for them right now in ways they cannot see. Someone who is one more silence, one more unanswered prayer, one more visible defeat away from giving up. And the only way this reaches them, the only way the algorithm puts this in front of the person who needs it most, is if you tell the system it matters. So be part of getting this to that person. Hit the button right now, because this is not content, this is a lifeline, and your action sends it further. Now, let me take you into the second half of these 24 hours, because this is where the mechanics get personal in ways that should change the way you live every single day for the rest of your life. There is a passage in Psalm 91 that almost everyone has heard quoted at some point. It's one of the most referenced scriptures in the entire Bible when people speak about angelic protection. "For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone." But read the architecture of that psalm more carefully. Read what comes before that verse. "Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge." And before that, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." There is a condition here, not a condition of merit, not a condition of perfection, not a condition that says only flawless people receive this protection, but a positional condition. The protection described in this psalm, the angels with their charge, the bearing up in their hands, the coverage from 1,000 falling around you, it flows from a specific position, the dwelling, the abiding, the staying close to the shadow of the Almighty. And this is where the 24 hours after an attack become the most critical crossroads of your spiritual life. Because here's what the enemy is doing in that window, not just attacking, repositioning. The attack was designed to move you, not necessarily to destroy you in a single blow, though sometimes that's the attempt, but to shift your position, to push you away from the shadow, to make you so angry, so hurt, so confused, so exhausted, that you back away from the very posture and the very proximity that makes the angelic protection fully operational in your life. The real warfare isn't the wound. The real warfare is the drift that follows the wound. Think about it this way. When you're in intense physical pain, you guard the injured part. You move differently. You avoid contact. You withdraw. And spiritual attacks are designed to trigger exactly that reflex in your soul. The betrayal makes you guard your trust. The loss makes you guard your hope. The unanswered prayer makes you guard your hunger for God. You start to move like a wounded person. And wounded people, people who are pulling back, people who are creating distance, are harder for angels to serve. Not because God stops caring, but because you've stepped back from the shadow where the protection is densest. And so, in the 24 hours after an attack, the most consequential thing happening in the unseen realm is not just the battle your angel is fighting on your behalf. It's the invitation being extended to you. Come back closer. Don't drift. Don't let the wound become the wall. Don't let the silence become the severance. Come back to the shadow. Because your angel, for all its power, for all its fire, for all its ancient and incomprehensible strength, your angel operates in the service of a relationship, not a system, not a formula, a relationship between you and the God who made you, who loves you with a love that sent his own son into the very battlefield where you are standing right now. And I have to be honest with you here. I have to say something that might be uncomfortable because I love you enough to say it. There are people watching this video who are genuinely curious about angels, genuinely interested in the unseen realm, genuinely fascinated by the mechanics of spiritual warfare. And they will walk away from this video with more information, more knowledge, more framework, and still be no safer than when they arrived. Because the angels are not the point. They were never the point. The angels serve the one who is the point. And if you are studying the servants while ignoring the king, you have missed the entire architecture of everything this video has been showing you. The army of fiery chariots on the hills around Elisha wasn't there because Elisha had learned the right incantations or developed the right spiritual techniques. It was there because Elisha walked with God, because the man had a relationship with the living God so real, so daily, so intimate, that when his servant panicked, he didn't panic because he knew where his confidence lived. He knew whose army was on those hills. The angel who came to Daniel didn't come because Daniel had figured out the right way to fast. He came because from the first day, Daniel set his heart to understand God's will and humbled himself before God, heaven mobilized. It was the posture of the heart that activated the mission. The protection of Psalm 91, the angels with their charge over you, flows from a dwelling, from a relationship, from an abiding, from someone who has said, "He is my refuge, he is my fortress, my God, in him I will trust." And here is what this means for you in this moment. After the attack, after the pain, after the confusion and the silence and the exhaustion and the wound that is still fresh, the most important thing happening in the next 24 hours is not just what your angel is doing in the unseen realm. It is what you're going to do with the state of your heart. Because the enemy didn't just attack your circumstances, the enemy attacked your relationship with Jesus Christ. The enemy attacked your willingness to trust the one who commands the angels. The enemy attacked the dwelling, tried to make you too angry, too hurt, too confused to stay in the shadow. And whether or not the attack accomplished its real purpose, the purpose that was never about the wound but always about the drift, that is determined entirely by what you decide in your heart in this window of time. I need you to hear me on this. I need you to let this go as deep as it will go. There is no attack that God did not see coming. There is no wound in your life that surprised the one who holds your name in his hands. There is no enemy strategy that outran the omniscience of the God who sits enthroned above every power, every principality, every force of darkness that has ever moved against you. The attack happened. The pain is real. The wound is real. But you are not alone in it, and you have never, not for a single second of your life, been unprotected by a force so massive, so ancient, so fierce, so personally assigned to your specific soul, that the only honest response to understanding it is to fall on your face and say, "I don't deserve this kind of love, but I receive it." And that brings me to the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire video. More important than the mechanics of angelic ministry, more important than the tactical theology of spiritual warfare, more important than everything I've built in the last several minutes of this conversation. There is a door. Jesus Christ said, "I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, and will go in and out and find pasture." He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." He said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." You are weary. You watch this video because you're weary, because something has been hitting you and you needed to understand what is happening in the unseen realm around your life. And I've tried to show you that you are not alone, that the protection is real, that the angel is real, that the army on the hills has always been there even when you couldn't see it. But I have to tell you the truth with everything in me. The angels minister to those who will inherit salvation. And salvation is not a doctrine. It is not a tradition. It is not a church membership or a moral code or a careful religious posture designed to keep you out of trouble. Salvation is a person, and that person's name is Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, who left the very heaven where the angels bow before him, who stepped into time and into flesh and into the same kind of suffering you are enduring, who was betrayed by the people he loved, who was abandoned at the moment of his greatest need, who cried out from a cross and felt the silence of heaven pressing down on him, felt the weight of every attack of darkness that had ever been or ever would be launched against every human soul who would ever live. He felt every attack. He took the full force of the war against you, and he died under it, and he was buried. And on the third day, he rose from that grave because death could not hold the Son of God and darkness could not win against the light of the world. And because he rose, the dispatch was sent. Because he rose, the corridor between heaven and your life is open. Because he rose, When you cry out in the aftermath of an attack, you are not crying into indifferent silence. You are crying to a God who already crossed every distance to reach you. A God who says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness." I want to ask you to do something right now, not to be polite, not because it's the religious thing to do at the end of a video like this. I'm asking you because I believe you came to this video for a reason. I believe there is something happening in your life right now that drove you here, to this screen, to this message, at this particular moment in time. And I believe that is not an accident. I believe the same God who sends angels to protect you also guides weary, wounded, searching people toward a truth they need to encounter. So right now in the comments below this video, I want you to type something. If you have never surrendered your life to Jesus Christ, if you have been carrying the weight of your life on your own, if you have been trying to navigate the spiritual warfare without the one who commands the armies, I want you to type these words. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Type it out right now in the comments as a public declaration, as a moment that is recorded not just on this platform, but in the books that matter far beyond any algorithm. If you already know Jesus, if you walked into this video as someone who belongs to Him, I want you to type, I am protected and I trust Him. Because someone else needs to see that declaration. Someone who is wavering needs to see that there are people who have been through the fire and who are still standing and still trusting. This declaration you type, it's not magic words. Salvation is not accomplished by a comment on a YouTube video, but it is a step. It is a movement toward the door. And the God who sees the step, the God who honors the turning of the heart toward Him, He is faithful to meet you in it. He will not let the sincerity of your heart go unrecognized. He sees you. He has always seen you. And He has been waiting with a patience that surpasses all understanding for exactly this moment. In the 24 hours after a spiritual attack, your angel is fighting. The corridor is being cleared. The record is being kept. The containment is holding. The army is on the hills. But the greatest miracle available to you in this window of time is not the work of the angel. It is the work of the Holy Spirit drawing you toward the one who sends the angels, toward the one who holds your name, toward the one who took the wound so you could be healed, toward the one who descended into the silence so you never have to stay there alone. His name is Jesus, and He is waiting right now, in this very moment. Not after you've cleaned up your life, not after you've figured out your theology, not after the pain has passed and you feel worthy enough to approach Him. Right now, in the middle of it, in the mess of it, in the raw, exhausted, wounded aftermath of everything that has hit you. Come, the door is open, the army is on the hills, and the one who commands it all is calling your name.